Who hasn't placed their trust in someone who later proved to be unworthy? You once thought they were a true friend. They shared smiles, listened intently, and stood by you during moments that felt authentic. But then, one careless remark causes your heart to drop. A glance that's colder than usual, a subtle shift that tells you the mood will change the second you leave the room. At first you ignore it, convincing yourself you're overreacting. But over time, that sense of unease deepens, and then you begin to see it for what it really is. Not everyone who smiles at you has your best interest at heart. Not everyone who praises you truly wants to see you succeed. The most dangerous person isn't the one who openly challenges you. It's the one who acts as though they are your ally, always polite, always seeming fine in front of you. They'll offer you coffee in the morning, then spread your secrets by afternoon. They don't just dislike you, they want you out of the picture. They don't express anger, they wear a mask with a charming smile, sweet words, and a perfectly calculated demeanor. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." But calm doesn't come from ignorance, it's the result of understanding, and understanding often comes with painful truths. Most people realize this too late, but you won't be one of them. This video will uncover 5 signs that people often overlook, revealing that someone isn't just disliking you, they might be quietly plotting your downfall. Don't click away, and if you still believe in truth, hit subscribe. After today, you'll never see kindness the same way again. Sign number 1, the silent observer. Real danger doesn't always announce itself with loud threats. Sometimes it arrives quietly. There are no heavy footsteps, no glaring faces, no spoken warnings. Instead, you feel it, a vague, uncomfortable presence that's hard to pinpoint. In Stoic philosophy, what's most terrifying often lies beneath the surface, in the subtle forces that chip away at your peace. The silent observer embodies this hidden danger perfectly. This person doesn't draw attention to themselves. They don't do anything bold enough to warrant confrontation. Yet, they're always around, watching your every move. From the moment you leave work to the coffee shop you visit every morning, they're there. They cross your path while you walk your dog or appear at the same diner you frequent. When your eyes meet, they offer a gentle smile, as if it's just a coincidence. But you're not fooled. Once might be luck, twice could be chance, but when it happens 3, 4, or 5 times, it's no longer random, it's deliberate. The silent observer acts like a modern-day spy, not out of flirtation or admiration, but to gather information. They're not interested in friendship. Their goal is to learn enough about you to either manipulate or destroy you. What they do is no different from surveillance, tracking your schedule, noting who you're with, and keeping tabs on when you're alone. Sounds extreme? Let me share Christine's story. Natalie, 34, experienced it firsthand. She tried to escape her past. She changed her phone number, locked down her social media, moved to a new neighborhood, and even started a new job, all in an effort to rebuild after a toxic relationship. But just weeks after joining a new gym, she saw him, her ex, standing outside, smiling as if it were just a coincidence. A month later, there he was again, his familiar gaze at a cafe near her new office. The third time it happened, Natalie was waiting for the bus after work when he appeared once more, coffee in hand, greeting her like an old friend unexpectedly reunited. At first, she dismissed it, convincing herself she was being paranoid. But the coincidences became too exact, the locations too specific, the timing too perfect. And the scariest part? He wasn't doing anything wrong. No insults, no threats, just a smile and his presence. But that presence, silent and deliberate, made Natalie feel unsafe in the life she had worked so hard to reclaim. In Stoicism, we learn to face the world with reason, but reason doesn't mean ignoring our intuition. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This isn't just wise advice, it perfectly describes the nature of the silent observer. They don't threaten you with words, they threaten you by appearing at the right time, in the right place, and in the right way to make you feel exposed. It's not the polite smile or the casual, funny scene you hear that defines them. It's their repeated, calculated behavior that reveals their true intentions. The real danger here isn't just the observation, it's the subtlety that makes this type of stalker so dangerous. They often make their victim question their own instincts, exploiting your kindness, hesitation, and the natural desire to avoid conflict. If you're not fully aware, you'll keep brushing it off, telling yourself, maybe I'm just overthinking. But that's exactly what they want, to lower your defenses so they can continue plotting while you remain oblivious. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you while you live. While it is in your power, be good." In this context, living rightly isn't just about being kind, it's about living with awareness. We can't control others, but we can and should control our attention. Recognizing strange behavior isn't paranoia, it's wisdom. And that wisdom acts as the shield that safeguards our inner peace, the highest value for a Stoic. In the age of social media, the silent observer doesn't need to be physically present. They can track you through every story, every status update, and every mutual friend you forgot to filter. They know where you go, what you eat, who you're dating, not through magic, but because you've unknowingly handed them all the information. Then they keep coincidentally showing up with a smile at just the right time, asking a caring question in just the right place, or giving you a look that sends chills down your spine, even though you can't explain why. In that moment, your job isn't to panic, it's to act decisively. Don't ignore the coincidences, and don't stay silent when something feels wrong. Observe the patterns, set boundaries, and ask yourself, why is this person always around me? Why do I feel uneasy every time we meet, even if they've done nothing wrong? Listening to your intuition isn't superstition. It's your brain's way of alerting you when logic hasn't caught up yet. In many cases, intuition is the only thing standing between you and a potential danger. So if you notice someone popping up too often, or if you feel like you're being watched but can't prove it, don't ignore it. Start by speaking up. Write down every suspicious encounter and share it with someone you trust. Because the most dangerous person isn't the one who shouts in your face, it's the one who smiles quietly, stays silent, and always shows up when you least expect them. Sign number 2, the sabotage strategy. Not every enemy chooses rage as their weapon. Some prefer subtlety, quiet persistence, and insidiousness. These are the ones who know that a cut to the heart doesn't need to be deep. It just needs to be precise. The sabotage strategy is the art of this kind of damage. When someone truly wants you gone, they won't shout it out loud across a meeting room. They'll whisper it to the people behind you, beside you, and above you. They're not looking for a knockout blow. Instead, they're after a slow, deliberate unraveling. This is where the power of suggestion becomes most dangerous. A lie can be disproven, but a toxic hint, a deliberate glance, or a casual, "Have you noticed she's been different lately?" These are droplets potent enough to cloud a glass of clear water. And no matter how many times you try to filter it out, the doubt that has seeped in is difficult to remove. Unlike simple retaliation, this kind of sabotage doesn't target your emotions. It goes after your ecosystem, your reputation, the relationships that sustain you. The mastermind knows that if they can get others to lose faith in you, you'll collapse on your own. You'll go on the defensive, grow anxious, and eventually retreat into the corner they've quietly chosen for you. A takedown campaign doesn't need to be loud or obvious. It's a silent campaign. A throwaway line in front of your boss, a whisper between coworkers, or a seemingly harmless message sent to your closest friends. None of them realize they're part of an attack. But you, the one being quietly pushed out of the trust circle, will feel it unmistakably. Kevin used to be the funny, easygoing guy that everyone in the group trusted, until he started dating Mia, a girl who made a few people feel uneasy. Things began to change without any clear reason. His close friends started making plans without inviting him. One of his best friends half-joked, "Kevin seems like he's trying to control Mia these days." No one said more, but the exchanged glances said enough. What Kevin didn't know was that another friend, Jake, had quietly been feeling jealous of his newfound happiness. Jake began planting subtle suggestions. "I'm not saying Kevin's got issues, but Mia's been looking kind of scared around him lately." These small, soft comments were spread out over weeks. No one confronted Kevin directly, but little by little, the warmth that once surrounded him began to fade. He didn't understand why, but Jake did, and that's when the sabotage began to work. The victim doesn't realize they're being cut off from the very network that once held them, and that's the dangerous part. The scary thing is that each rumor seems unrelated, like scattered pieces of a puzzle. Only the manipulator can see the full picture. Outsiders won't notice any clear intent, but you, caught in the middle of the spiral, begin to feel isolated, questioned, and cold-shouldered. This isn't impulsive, it's calculated. It's a plan broken down into fragments of doubt, just enough to turn you into a problem in the eyes of others. And that leaves you with no one to lean on, no allies, no trust. The goal isn't to hurt you directly. The goal is to erase you from the picture. From a Stoic philosophical perspective, this kind of cruelty isn't just a moral test. It's a toxic fog that clouds your judgment and threatens to make you lose yourself. But this is exactly when you need the power of reason that Stoicism champions. If someone succeeds in provoking you, Epictetus said, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. If someone causes you to lose your temper, recognize that it was your own mind that allowed it to happen. This quote from Epictetus isn't about blaming the victim. It's a reminder that your inner strength is always a weapon within your control, even when everything around you is being manipulated. When you're dealing with a saboteur, your first move isn't to react. It's to observe with clear, rational thinking. Emotional reactions only make you easier to trap. If you get angry, they'll say you're unstable. If you try too hard to explain yourself, they'll claim you're guilty of something. Let them play their game, but you must play yours differently. You don't need to chase every rumor. Stay calm, but not passive. True defense doesn't come from shouting, "I'm innocent." It comes from being prepared, keeping records, saving emails, texts, and calendars. You don't live to prove yourself to them. You live to uphold your own values and integrity. In Stoic philosophy, dignity is something no one can take from you unless you give it away. Your reputation can be tarnished, but your character can't. And time will prove that if you remain steady and alert. Eventually, when you realize someone is quietly distorting your image to the world, don't keep giving them the courtesy of your silence. Don't convince yourself that everything will just work out. No, things only work out when you actively protect yourself with calm clarity and wisdom. Reputation sabotage is a form of psychological warfare, but Stoicism doesn't teach you to be a warrior in armor. It teaches you to be a mountain. Things can crash against you, but you do not move. You don't need to win their war. You just need not to lose yourself. And if you think sabotage is the worst they can do, you should brace yourself for what's coming next, because one of the most dangerous forms of attack often comes from those who seem the kindest. Don't miss what's coming up when your enemy puts on a friendly face, shakes your hand, smiles at you, and listens closely. Not out of care, but to gather ammunition for a future ambush. Do you really know who's standing next to you? We'll dive into that in the next part. Sign number 3, the false friend facade. One of the most dangerous masks in the world isn't the face of a demon. It's the face that looks like a friend. A friendly handshake, a quiet smile, a gaze that seems to truly care. These are the tools of deception. In today's world, where human relationships grow more tangled by the day, the enemy disguised as a friend isn't just a detective novel cliché. They exist in real life, often closer than you think. And the warning signs aren't in a rough exterior, but in sudden closeness without any warning. You meet them somewhere, at work, in class, or through a mutual acquaintance. At first, they're just another casual social contact, but before long, they show a special interest in you. They ask personal questions and dig deep. What's your daily routine like? Are you seeing someone? Are you still upset about the thing with your mom? What are you most afraid of? The questions seem harmless, but they come up again and again, always at the moments when you're emotionally low or in need of someone to talk to. They're not there to build a friendship. They're there to observe, to collect, and to prepare for something that won't be good. This is the false friend facade, the sophisticated mask of a fake friend. It's not just pretending to be nice, it's a strategy, a deliberate approach, and sometimes it's part of a plan to hurt, undermine, or manipulate you later. They don't come to build a bridge, they come to scout the path. The enemy, wearing the mask of a good friend, often uses your own openness as a weapon. They'll help with small things, give you a ride home, carry your stuff, and remind you of deadlines, as if they genuinely want to see you thrive. But it's all a test. They want to see how you react. Are you easy to trust? Do you talk about your family? Do you accidentally reveal something even you didn't notice? They're not just doing this instinctively. They're doing it with precision, like a trained agent. They might even mimic the way you speak, mirror your emotions just to make you feel understood. That's the kind of fake safety that lowers your guard. And that's the moment when you're at your weakest. This isn't just a hunch, it's psychology. And it comes with a serious warning from the Stoics. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. This quote isn't just about friendship. It's a powerful reminder about the value of trust in an age where kindness can be worn like a glove to hide a killer's hand. Sharing your fears, memories, or dreams is not something you should rush into. Seneca never told you to shut down, but he did emphasize the importance of wisdom in choosing who to open up to, making sure your trust is given to those who genuinely have your best interests at heart. He told you to stay awake. The Stoics taught that moderation is the backbone of strength. You can offer kindness, but never sell your trust cheaply. A person truly worth trusting won't rush to become your best friend in a week. They'll respect your space. They'll step back when you need silence. The disguised enemy will do the opposite. The closer they get, the more urgent they become. The more they try to touch your private world, the more likely it is that they're laying down a trap. The most dangerous thing is when you don't want to believe you're being manipulated. You think, no, that person's good, they help me, they listen. But what you don't notice is this. Most of what you confide in them eventually comes back to hurt you. Through twisted words, through the strange way others start to look at you, and you don't even know why. The truth is, you handed over the key to your inner world to someone who was already standing at the edge, waiting for a chance to break in. Stoics never said you should fear everyone, but they always emphasized this. Listen to your gut, observe behavior, and act with boundaries. When someone suddenly gets too close, too fast, slow down. When they keep pressing for your past, your ex-relationships, your personal routines, ask yourself why. When you feel like you owe them personal information just because they were kind, draw a line. A true friend will never need you to explain why you need space, but someone playing the role of a good friend will try to pull down your guard as soon as possible, and later use your vulnerability as a weapon to break you. Make it a habit to observe people over time, not based on a few kind gestures at the start. Don't mistake temporary friendliness for genuine kindness, and never ignore that subtle feeling in your gut, the one that whispers something's off, even when everything looks perfect on the surface. That's not paranoia. That's survival instinct. In a world where masks are expertly crafted, awareness is your last line of defense. Be selective with who you let into your mind, just as a soldier chooses comrades on the battlefield. One wrong decision can sometimes never be undone. Have you ever met someone like that? Someone who came into your life too quickly, cared too deeply, and then vanished, leaving only wounds and doubt? Share your story in the comments. It's not just a way to release what you've been holding in. It may help someone else spot the mask they haven't seen yet. Say something. You never know who might need it. Not everyone reveals their true nature suddenly. The most dangerous people don't come at you in a rage. They arrive slowly, gently, like a knock on the door on a quiet evening, like a harmless joke shared between friends. But listen closely to what they say, and watch their eyes when they laugh. Sometimes death doesn't begin with blood, it begins with laughter. Calculated escalation is a dangerous strategy, one that's often underestimated. It doesn't involve loud, uncontrollable violence, quite the opposite. It's subtle, it hides behind friendliness, behind jokes. A predator doesn't strike right away. He watches, he tests, he measures, and most of all, he desensitizes you to the psychological violence he's preparing to inflict. When someone says, "I could kill you right now," and laughs as if it's just a joke, what do? Laugh along to keep things light? Feel a chill for a second, then tell yourself, maybe I'm just overreacting. That's the usual response, because we're taught it's wrong to doubt someone's good intentions. We're taught to believe in goodness, in God, in the light within every soul. But sometimes it's that very kindness that blinds us to evil. Not the kind that arrives with a roar, but the kind that whispers. Let me tell you a story. Anna and David were neighbors. At first, David seemed genuinely kind. He helped Anna carry heavy bags, checked in after work, and invited her to dinner like any polite friend would. Over time, David started joking. He said things like, "If someone broke into your house, I guess I'd have to kill him." Anna laughed. Another time he said, "If I were a serial killer, you'd be the perfect victim." And then he laughed again. Anna started to feel uneasy, but she tried to stay polite. Until one evening she came home to find, right in her mailbox, a hunting knife stabbed straight through a delivery slip. Her face went pale. Still, she wondered, could it be a coincidence? She installed cameras, changed her locks, and then the truth began to emerge. The footage showed David standing outside her door late at night. No knocking, no saying anything, just standing there. And when the police searched his home, they found a notebook. In it, David had documented Anna's daily schedule, the times when the apartment building was empty, and one chilling phrase highlighted: "Execution window, Thursday, 2 a.m." David was arrested, but not everyone is as lucky as Anna. Some never realize what's happening, or worse, they do, but have been conditioned to believe that what they're seeing, what they're feeling, is just their imagination. What does Stoicism say about this? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When we analyze this teaching, we see a clear warning. If you habitually ignore uneasy thoughts, if you keep reassuring yourself that everything is fine while your gut tells you otherwise, your soul will slowly be poisoned by that very indifference. Stoicism is not about being numb. Stoicism is the discipline of training your reason to see the truth, even when the truth is painful. What do we learn from Anna's story? That calculated escalation is a real tactic. Threatening jokes aren't always jokes. Seemingly small actions, like invasions of personal space, lingering stares, or asking too many questions about your schedule, might be the early stages of a meticulous plan to destroy you. The attacker doesn't just want you dead physically, they want you paralyzed mentally. So by the time they strike, you have no strength left to resist. And that's exactly why you need to learn awareness. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." If you notice someone repeating threatening behaviors, repeating words that send a chill down your spine, pause, watch, ask questions, and if necessary, act. Being cautious is not weakness, it's wisdom. A Stoic does not live in fear, but they are never careless. They believe in God, but they also understand that God gave humans reason and emotions to discern right from wrong. When something feels off, it's not oversensitivity. It could be intuition, a warning from God, a light shining into a darkness that's trying to stay hidden. And now that you understand escalation is never random, ask yourself, is someone playing with your boundaries? Is someone slowly stepping into your safe space with gentle eyes but the footsteps of a predator? If so, step back, face the truth, and remember, living by principle doesn't mean you have to be the prey. If you think all danger comes wrapped in rage, you're about to wake up. Because the most dangerous person isn't the one who's out of control. It's the one who controls everything, including you. When someone knows how to wait, how to feed their hatred bit by bit, like a snake swallowing eggs, how to befriend you while waiting for the right moment, that's no longer someone who dislikes you. That's a hunter with a strategy, and you, no matter how strong, could become the target if you don't realize they've been there all along. Are you ready? The final sign will make sure you never look at a gentle gaze the same way again. Keep going. Sign number 5, the patient predator. Not everyone who hates you will shout it to your face. Not everyone who wants you gone will show their intent. The most dangerous people sometimes don't look dangerous at all. They don't get angry. They don't slam tables. They don't send threats. They stay quiet. They care. They remember your birthday, buy the exact kind of tea you like, and always ask, "How's work going these days?" But behind those gestures isn't kindness, it's strategy. The patient predator is the kind of person the Stoics called a test of the mind, because you can't react impulsively to them. There's nothing specific to object to, no clear action to call out, but you feel something's off. Their kindness is like an expensive coat worn in the middle of summer. Too much, too well-timed, too consistent. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. The noblest revenge is to not become like the one who wronged you. So what does that mean in this case? It means that instead of confronting them or spiraling into paranoia, you must stay calm, clear-headed, and focused on facts. You don't react the way they expect. You don't call them out on a whim. You simply don't let them access the deepest parts of you, where they can strike when you're weakest. The patient predator is playing the long game. They're in no rush. They gather data in every small conversation. They pay attention: what time you're usually home, what you confide about your family, what you complain about at work, what you fear, where you're weak, who you trust. They don't ask directly. They create moments where you'll say it yourself. When you open up, they nod with empathy, and you believe you're connecting with someone who truly understands you. That's the mistake. You let your guard down. You don't realize everything you've shared is being stored, not in a notebook, but in a memory as cold and calculated as a surveillance system. They're not in a hurry to use it. They're still building the illusion of a safe dream. One day you'll look back and piece everything together, and suddenly it all makes sense. You told them too much, thinking you were talking to a friend. But you'll realize, even after all your openness, you never really knew who they were, how they lived, or what they believed. They showed up when you needed someone most, when you were broken, lonely, exhausted. But when you got back on your feet, they vanished without a trace, as if their mission was complete. They helped you with something small, something simple: fixing a socket, watering your plant, picking up your kid just once. But the price you paid was the quiet, growing sense that you owed them. They never asked for anything outright. They just slowly gained the upper hand while you weren't paying attention. They watched where you kept your spare key, when you forgot to lock the door, what you tended to say when you were drunk. Every gesture was planned, every move intentional, because their goal was never to help. It was always to understand how to disarm you. You might think, no one's that calculated. But even Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Understand this, and you'll find true strength. You only control your own mind, not the world, not the predator. And once you grasp that truth, you stop trying to change who they are and start learning how not to fall into their trap. Stoicism doesn't teach you to be afraid, it teaches you to be aware. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be and then do what you have to do. Choose who you want to become, and then act in line with that decision. If you want freedom, learn how to say no. If you want peace, protect your space. Don't let anyone step in too quickly, too deeply, too easily. One of the most deceptive tactics this kind of person uses is what we call normalizing the relationship. They don't try to impress you, they make you feel at ease. They don't excite you, they make you believe there's nothing to fear, nothing to question. And that's exactly when you should start paying attention. They don't strike when you're alert or surrounded. They wait. They wait for the cracks to form, for you to be drained, overwhelmed, lonely. When your home life is tense, your job feels uncertain, and your friends have grown distant, that's when their kindness appears. A gentle hand at just the right time, the kind that makes you open every door. And that's when they move in. Stoicism doesn't teach you to become suspicious of everyone, but it does warn you, don't confuse friendliness with safety. Real goodness doesn't demand you lose yourself. A real friend won't use your lowest moment as a backdoor into your soul. So how do you stay safe? You move slow. You live by principles. You turn the questions inward, not are they trustworthy, but am I giving away too much too soon? Ask yourself, do they know the details of my life while I barely know theirs? Why do they always appear at just the right moment, saying exactly what I need to hear? You don't need to be hyper alert all the time, but as the Stoics taught, awareness isn't paranoia, it's wisdom. You don't have to shut people out, but you do need to guard the gates to your inner world. You can still be generous without being exposed, still loving without being naive. And most importantly, protect your private truth like a sacred flame. Not everyone deserves to get close. If someone always feels just a little too perfect, too present, too in tune, step back, not to fear them, but to truly see them. The patient predator doesn't chase. They don't need to chase you, because without realizing it, you'll be the one stepping closer. So now you've heard all 5 signs, signals that could protect you or someone you care about. These aren't just social cues or casual advice. They're survival instincts for a world where harm often arrives with a smile. Because as you've seen, it's rarely the loud enemy who's most dangerous. It's the quiet one. The one who smiles while secretly wishing you'd vanish. Now it's your turn. Out of these 5 signs, how many felt familiar? Was there one that hit too close to home? One that reminded you of someone you once trusted? Drop your story in the comments. You never know. Your words might be the eye-opener someone else needs. And if this helped you, hit like, share it, and subscribe so you never miss what's next. Save this video, because the next time your instincts whisper that something's off, you'll already have a tool in your pocket. Up next, watch our video on covert narcissists, because danger rarely comes alone. Stay aware, stay grounded, and never mistake a soft voice for a soft heart.